Good day. This is Celia's Partners-in-Law, and I am Attorney Regal Oliva, your host for this show. And I am very, very happy that we will be talking about green building. What is it all about, and how important is the implementation of green building is sa ato ang nasod, no? So ato ang giimbita karon ang City Environmental and Natural Resources Officer of Mandaue City. Kaya ang Mandaue City ay usa sa pinakaunang syudad nga naka-implementar og ordinansa about green building, especially in the province of Cebu. So, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I'd like to call in, or I'd like to welcome Architect Araceli Barlam. Hi.
Hi, Attorney.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Very good. Let's talk about green building and why is it so important to have a green building? Because as we note, no, green building is a result of studies.
Yes.
So unsa man nga studies nga ato ang naresulta nganong kailangan ang green building? First, let's answer the first question. What is a green building?
Ang green building is, of course, definitely building a dili green, not necessarily
okay,
green.
Not necessarily ang pintala nimo green.
Yes.
Okay, so what is it all about?
Simple ang yung definition, Attorney. Green building is a building that is responsible to the environment, its impact to the environment, and resource efficient. Bali, whatever it consumes, it is efficient about its use. Dili
So
sa
kanang,
waste.
let's just say it's environmentally friendly nga building.
Yes.
Okay. So daghan man tag I do not know if we have one example of a building right now in Cebu, but we will go to that later.
Okay.
Pero why is it important to make it?
Decades ago, green building could be called a fad. But these days, especially with climate change, effects on climate change, we have no more choice except to do buildings that are green.
So this is a mandate already.
Yes, for most countries, and in the Philippines, there are other LGUs na pod nga nagmandato ani. For Mandaue, na ay areas nga mandatory, na ay areas nga voluntary.
Okay. Now, the effects of climate change. The United Nations listed 8 effects of of climate change. As I will say, hotter temperatures, and I think we've experienced that already,
Yes.
no? Ang atong udto karon maabot nag 42 degrees Celsius because previously in my whole life gyud architect wa pa ko ka experience og 42 degrees Celsius. But right now, mura siya na normal na. In Cebu City, ha? Or even, miski sa inyo siguro mga probinsya, init na gud kaayo. So, effect ni ang United Nations. Number 2, more severe storms.
Yes.
And siguro over the past decade, naka-experience na kaduha, nga kanang severe in our area. Yolanda and Odette. No? Mo gani grabe kaayo. And then increased drought. So, I was just in Europe, architect, and France is battling severe drought. In fact, they have a difficult time producing their champagne and their wine because of the drought in their area. So it's severe because they have not experienced that kind of drought ever since. Then rising ocean levels.
Yes.
Nay, mga example aning rising ocean level, architect?
Yes, actually sea level rise na sa ato lang daan sa Philippines na agad.
Pila ka do you have any knowledge as to like Cebu Island ni rise ba gid ang atong ocean
I don't have
level?
the numbers right now, but yes, definitely according to studies from experts na agad siya rise.
Wow.
Definitely.
Okay. And then there's also the 5th is loss of species. So I hope ang human species di pud ma-loss dayo, no, but there is a danger to
Yes,
that
yes.
also. And then not enough food, and I think that's being experienced right now. So ang kaning mga experiences nato nga ni mahal ang onions, ni mahal ang bugas, could this be a
These are
result
all part of the bits and pieces of everything.
of the global warming, huh? And then more health risks. Well, COVID can be associated with
Yes.
global warming too. And then last but definitely not the least is men. So yes, lots of people will be displaced because of the rising ocean level, diba?
Yes.
So every going upwards na, and also because of that, mutaas ang atong poverty level also. So these are dangerous times. And we have just been watching movies like Waterworld ni Kevin Costner. Could those be possible?
I don't know, but nothing is impossible right now.
Diba? So that's why it's important that in our own little way,
Yes.
and in the ways of government, we have to also instill change. And one of these is the green building. Now, Mandaue City. Let's move to Mandaue City. Mandaue City has implemented the green building ordinance. When was this implemented?
Pag 2015 na enact nato ang atong green building ordinance, the conversation started about 2 years before that, 2013. We were searching for experts or partners when it comes to green building, because at that time ang Mandaue, we had to admit we did not have the competence.
Competence on
Assessing if the building is green, if
Okay.
performing as a green building. And then on top of that, mounting problems were present already. Naatay solid waste management, naatay traffic, naatay kanang drainage problems, flooding. They were all happening at the same time. So we had to find something makatabang ani nga ma-minimize or ma-mitigate. We're not saying the green building will solve everything, but it will mitigate environmental problems.
So how can a green building serve as a solution when it comes to solid waste management?
Okay. Tagaanta mong example ha. Like for example, if the lot is vacant, wala pa'y development, wala pa'y structure din ha. So, it has nothing to discharge. Wala siya ipagawas nga hugaw, wala siya ipagawas nga tubig. But as soon as the lot or the site is developed, na structure, na ay mga tao magpuyo sa structure, there will be discharges, meaning na ay tubig ipagawas, wastewater, na ay basura ipagawas. Now, if this is not managed, we can manage this by ordinances and everything, pero ang green building manggod, musulti nato nga these are ways to minimize and then also ways to be efficient.
Oh, okay.
So that is how simply a green building can help when it comes to environmental problems.
let's go to a feature of a green building.
Okay.
Unsay feature sa usa ka green building nga makaingon makatabang gid siya sa discharge, solid waste management, traffic solution, kana maka-contribute gid siya, especially to minimize global warming. So what are examples of what we will put in a green building?
There's a list of categories, kumbaga nga tan-aw na to, okay, we cannot accomplish everything, but there is a guide. So there's management, meaning kung nagplano pa lang ta nga mag green building or mag-construct, we have to be able to discuss targets nga, are we going to do this? Can we
Asa
do
sila
this?
mo adto diha nimo?
No, this is going to be, they have to hire a certified Verde professional.
Oh, so there's a Verde professional.
Yes.
Who are these people? Engineers, architects?
They can be anybody who is interested in the environmental protection aspect.
Okay.
Of course, if social workers can even yes,
So
there's
ito
no
na siya.
discrimination.
How do you become a Verde expert?
You have to take the exam. There's an exam.
So there's a course also and
Yes.
there's an exam.
Yes.
So how long is the course to be taken?
It's just a 1 or 2 day training.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then the
Alright.
exam will happen on the next day.
How many Verde experts do we have in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, kung wala ko masayo, more than 500 na ta.
Oh, okay.
But
Are
this
you
is
a Verde expert?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm a Verde professional.
So we can also go to you and then ask you about
yes.
okay. So what are examples nga among i-implement sa
Okay.
among buildings?
So sa 11 categories na ay about management, use of land, meaning how do you plan to use the land?
Alright.
If there are features that are environmentally critical or you want to protect, you have to make that part of the discussion.
Like for example, a tree that's growing
Yes.
that has been growing in the land.
yes.
So part of it may gusto jud kang dili na ikat,
yes,
di ba?
especially
Okay.
if it is native to the area.
Yeah, all right.
And then water. How do we become resource efficient when it comes to water?
Alright.
Na yes, magamit magitag tubig.
Correct.
But there are ways, there are technologies, there are systems, there are policies nga dili nato usikan ang potable water. Waste. During construction na aginay basura. Now, how do
Yes.
we recycle or reuse the basura nga dili tanan malabay sa landfill? That is also part of the discussion. Energy, basically it's about electrical consumption. Now, how do you plan nga imong building bisag unsa pa na siya kanang load niya dili ta grabe mo gamit og electricity.
Okay.
There are technologies and there are also policies to that.
Technology and policy, ha?
Yes, yes.
So, di lang gina technology lang. There
Dili.
are policies.
Yes.
Is it only available in Mandaue City ang policy?
No, actually it's kanang everybody knows about this. No, we don't want to waste electricity.
Correct. Okay.
We know na
Kaya mahal po kayo, architect.
kung nag-on ang aircon, if nobody's using it anymore, we have to turn off the aircon.
Alright.
So it's part of the policy. In fact, kung as an architect sa among klase sa architecture sa una, these are already discussed. These were already discussed, but it was not during decades ago. Wala lang siya ma-identify as green building practice.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But now we're trying to make it mainstream nga. This is really a policy, not just now, but sa una pa ni siya. Wala
So for
lang siya
example, like refrigerator ka na inverter.
yes.
Mo na sa mga
That's for emissions.
features.
Emission na siya, that's
but that can also help.
That can relate to.
So aircon, inverter, ato ang mga suga with the
Yes.
LED,
Yes.
kana siya. These are so in other words, architect, I'm curious, ang green building ba pwede para ra ginas mga bag-o nga buildings or pwede ang karaan nga building existing we can convert it into a green building?
Yes, to answer your question, yes, attorney.
Oh.
Ang ato lang ordinance focuses on the new buildings and those nga nag-operate na 2 years. Nga naman kay ato man it's really kanang dili ni siya kanang
2 years. What about 10 years nga building? Dili pwede na?
no 2 years nga natay data nga natay
okay.
number so
Alright,
that we can say nga okay, you are operating with resource efficient principles.
But charity begins at home. Kanang secret lang nato ni architect.
Sige.
Is Mandaue City Hall a green building?
No, it's not certified a green building.
Oh,
no,
not
it's
yet.
not a certified
So
green
how
building.
can we, or how can you try to convince the people in Mandaue City nga mag-green building mo, mag-Berde certified mo, they call it Berde certification, right?
Yes.
Berde meaning green.
Yes.
Okay, how can you convince us? Nga, City Hall gani ba man na nag-green building? Oh.
That's a good question because when we were crafting the ordinance around between 2013 to 2015, it was a long process actually.
Yes.
It's one of the landmark legislations nga took 16 workshops
Wow.
just to get validation from the public or from the stakeholders. So, ang gibuhat nato was asa to?
Katong pag ang kaning City Hall nga dili sila.
Gibuhat nato is everybody was asking, oh, kamo di ay. So, to put that, to walk the talk, part of the ordinance was the government buildings have to be mandated green or certified green. At that time, na naman atong City Hall, old naman siya.
Okay.
It's basically a historical landmark na
Yes,
siya.
it's almost 100 years
Yes.
old. Oh.
Ang sa ordinance nato, ang historical landmarks, ang post-disaster centers, walay labot sa ordinance.
Oh, why?
Yeah, we cannot touch it. Kanang it's lahi ang agency nga mo-touch ang
All right,
historical.
okay.
But as to government saying we were doing this and what are we doing about it? So we're proud to say na our there's the project that the city is planning. We're building on a government center.
Okay.
It is proposed as an iconic building at the same time our first ever government building that is green certified.
Oh, okay. Well, nice. So kani ato ang bagong City Hall will become
Yes.
a green certified building.
Yes,
so that's our goal.
That's the goal, yes.
Okay.
Currently, plano pa man na attorney no, but currently we have our Tipolo residences.
Okay.
It's our housing project.
That will also
financed
be
by the
green?
city. Yeah, that is projected to be a certified green building.
Nice,
That's our first project government building.
Wow, that's very nice. And I remember also you mandated the offices of the different departments to use LED as our lights na.
Yes, that is the I think executive order from the Mayor Jonas.
Correct. Oh, I remember you changing the lights of my lampshades, the bulbs in my office. Those were also
of the
implemented
principle,
part
yes.
of it. So ang ato lang yung kalisuran aning mga daan na kay nga buildings is the waste management, no?
Yes. But
Especially on the
that's part of
sewerage.
Yeah.
Okay. So karon nga we're doing this. How many have we certified in Mandaue City as a Berde building?
Yes. When we started the framework,
Pila man ni kad years na? 2015 ninyo na-approve, no?
15,
2015, that's about 8 years now.
Yes.
How many buildings have we
the
certified?
journey has not been easy. We in fact call it a headache.
Okay.
Crafting the ordinance was a headache for us. The implementation is a migraine.
Oh my goodness.
So
So,
it's not
continuous
easy.
gid ninyo
Yes.
sakit, okay?
However, we have this bright spot that we recognize. We recognize the Mandani Bay as our first ever certified 5-star Verde
Wow.
in the entire Central Visayas.
HT land, huh?
Yes,
That's
HT land.
Okay, wow, congratulations.
We're proud
to
of that. The
HT
city is
land.
proud of that, attorney.
Oh,
because
very nice.
makaingon yun ta nga, naagid ay, tinuod gid ay siya. Naagid ay.
Wow. Okay, so we said that Mandaue City is the first city to have implemented with policies when it comes to green building.
I will clarify that, attorney.
Ah.
Ang first in the Philippines, I believe, was Quezon City. First sila, naghimog ordinansa sa green building, and then nisunod si Mandaluyong
Okay.
City, and then based on research ni sa PhilGBC, and then kita.
Oh, so we're the third.
Yes, and
Okay.
then
So we're the
si-
first outside Metro Manila.
We're the first outside because we were followed by Pasig. We're the first outside, attorney, but also we're the first LGU nga ni-implement sa green building nga atong gi-include ang Verde rating in full. We adopted the Verde rating in full. What do I mean by that? Remember when I said earlier nga in the beginning, we acknowledged na we were not competent when it comes to green building expertise. So, ang nahitabo, instead of making our own, instead of kanang trying to change kumbaga the wheel, we followed what was there already. We copied in full, we adopted in full the existing Verde rating system.
Tell me more about the success stories of the green building, especially in other cities and also in Mandaue City when we come back in our program. Okay, so we wanted to know about the success stories about the cities that you have mentioned, Quezon City, Mandaluyong, Pasig. Tell us about their cities.
Unfortunately, I don't have stories from the cities that we mentioned. Ang amo lang yun nahibawan, attorney, from recent visits to the PhilGBC.
So you went, ha? Nangatugid mo?
No, ang ningadto ta sa PhilGBC nga
Okay.
council. And then we were informed nga as of today, ang ato ra gyud ang naay what you call that, naay results.
Wow. Why is it?
Because again, I believe maybe because of leadership.
So, kana sila, kaning uban mga syudad, according to the PhilGBC, are just having policies passed, but then when it comes to the implementation, they're weak.
They're having problems.
They're
yes.
having, okay. Now, architect, I would have to say it needs an iron hand, no, to implement these kind of ordinances. Because if not, then what gid ni siya? Who are the offices?
Okay.
Or what offices are in charge when it comes to the implementation of the Verde?
Part of the ordinance nato nagibutang nito ang implementing office ang atong OBO, Office of the Building Official.
Okay.
Sila ang atong gitawag og Green Building Office.
Ang OBO is now separate from the city engineer's office.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Sa una, join man na
Correct.
sila. Gibuwag sila para naagi focus ang duha. And then, OBO is also named as the Green Building Office to support this ordinance.
Okay. So now, where was it? Ang atong inspiration, no, sa Pilipinas, where did it really come from? What other countries have implemented this kind of policy?
Okay. Sa atong history, ana, ang mga leaders, ang early leaders are UK, US, and Hong Kong. In the 1990s pa to sila nag-una.
So they're doing that, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they're successful at that. Nisunod ta later on, nisunod si Australia, mga 2000 na, 2004 if I'm not mistaken, and then si Singapore, 2005. And then si Philippines with Verde, 2010. 2010 pa ta nagsugod. So it's really practically just...
That's the sad part because most of those which started are first world countries. And then karon we are being mandated, no, to be following international standards of green building.
Okay.
And the thing is, most of the rich countries are the ones who are the source of fossil fuel. Sila gud mismo ang nakaingon kung nganong naay greenhouse effect ug nganong naay climate change. Let's put in or put into perspective, the United States of America and China are the ones good the biggest source of fossil fuel. But the thing is, ang kana ilang paggamit aning mga fossil fuel have created this greenhouse effect which caused global warming. The thing is, ang pinaka-affected gud hinon ani dili sila. The most affected are the ones especially in the ocean spheres like the Philippines, and mostly are the third world countries. Now, isn't this unfair nga the first world countries are pushing the Philippines to implement the third world implement a green building ordinance or green building law for that matter, wherein di man unta nato responsibility kay gamay ra man kay atong emission as a country.
Nindot kay imong questions, attorney, and I was listening to you, naminaw ko daghang sag answers ba, daghang layers ani.
Yes,
So
yes.
in the first place, ang ato i-clarify lang sa atong mga nagtanaw og naminaw nga the green building concept or the policy, yes, it started in the kanang highly
First world
developed
countries.
first world countries. And then ang atong green building, it was not pushed to us, it was not mandatory. In fact, we
Okay.
started Verde as a voluntary program through the Department of Energy.
Alright.
Department of Energy partnered with the PhilGBC para maka-create a voluntary program for green building. Now, when it comes to fairness, mention maka-attorney nga, how is it nga sila ang high-emitting nations na kita pa ang vulnerable na
Kita pa nag-implement.
Yes.
Oo.
So, the way I see it, attorney, all the more reason ni first world countries, it is now more evident to them nga dapat they have to cut emissions. That's for them. Pero kita nga vulnerable pa ta, if we don't do anything, if we go business as usual gihapon, magunsa naman lang ta.
Okay.
So, in our own way, si Mandawi lang, we're looking at Mandawi yun, nakita na magyud nato ang effect. So, personally, I would not say nga kanang maghuwat na lang ta sa effect nga mo mas mo grabe. So, kay mas mo grabe magyud ni if we do not do anything. That was the wisdom actually of the ordinance created by the city.
Okay.
Because nakita na magyud nato nga grabe na ang baha. This was 2013, 2014. Grabe na ang baha, grabe na ang basura, grabe na ang traffic, grabe na ang mga ang development sa city. There was so much unregulated development and so much environmental issues going on. What do? We cannot wait for the gods, kumbaga.
Yeah.
So we had to do something. That's why the ordinance was created. It was validated by the stakeholders. It went through a process. Mo nang kanang ato gina siyang gikuptan karon nga this is our way of fighting the effects while the others are also doing their part.
Wow. Okay, because last November 2022, the COP27, or these are the 27 countries, which are the first world countries, kung baga, no, had a summit in Egypt. And from the COP27, they have initiated that there should be a funding. So they agreed, no, nga fund nga ilang i-devote into the global warming nga ilang ipanghatag usually sa third world countries. But the thing with the COP27 that happened last year was that what gid siya nahimuan og operationalization or methodology as to how to distribute the money. Number two, wa pud gibutang kung how much they're gonna give. No? So,
Kulang.
yes, there's an agreement to put up a fund, but as to how much are they giving? None. So, what is Mandawi pushing when it comes to, asking grants from first world countries, especially in pushing the Verde Ordinance?
Kada nga ka-aspeto, attorney, we must admit wala taana gyud. Kulang
Okay.
gyud taana. So we need help. Actually, we're now partnering with PhilGBC together with the energy companies. That's why I'm traveling to Japan next week.
Okay. Yes,
So that-
you need this because
Yes.
we have to seek help and demand help.
Yes.
Because hey, you're emitting so much and you're destroying our country and especially our city. Kay sige, kita be catch basin sa baha gyud ano, architect. So, what are they gonna do?
So ang sa atong level lang attorney, it's now more than ever evident nga we know we need knowledge. There has to be knowledge sharing. Mas strengthen ang financing mechanisms. Kay we don't have funds for this yet, I
Okay.
believe. And then kanang we have to be more adaptable to newer technologies. For Mandawi alone ba kay kung what we know right now, we need to learn more, especially with new technologies. We need to be able to adapt para masayo na to ma-implement. Kay kung if we're content or settled with what we know now, di gyud ta kaapas.
The problem with newer technologies, architect, is it's very expensive. Like for example, ganahan mi solar ang among balay, no? But expensive
Yes, that's
siya.
true, that's
So
true.
how can you, like for example, residential areas, no? How can you make us put? By the way, talking about residential areas, are residential areas compelled or mandated to implement green building too?
No, attorney, according sa atong ordinansa dili, voluntary ra na ila.
Oh,
They are not
but
mandated.
prospectively, are you looking at a future that we might be mandating residential buildings?
Ang future, ang history sa mga nag-una nato na ing-ani man gud siya attorney, especially for like Singapore, when they started, they gave out initiatives for those who implement or go green. But later on, wala na sila mga tawag initiatives because it was mainstream already. No need to
Initiatives or
entice-
incentives?
Incentives, sorry,
Incentives, okay.
No need to give incentives anymore because everybody was doing it. Nahimong mainstream.
Nice.
Now for residential sa ato attorney, it has para namo dili gyud siya ihimong mandatory.
Okay.
Dili siya mahimong policy nga dapat mo implement. However, kanang naatay i-push gihapon nga policy nga they are encouraged lang. Kay it's kanabang
But for
small
those
steps lang ba?
implementing, are you giving them incentives?
Good question. Ang atong ordinansa naagid sa incentives nga ihatag for those who are kanang implementing or following the ordinance. There are two kinds of incentives, fiscal and non-fiscal. For those nga ni-implement or mo implement ani, they are given the green lane sa OBO, meaning faster ang ilang processing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then for fiscal, those are tax credits.
Tax credits
Yes.
from the real property tax.
Yes.
Okay, these are property developments, diba? So what's the highest? For example, I get the 5-star green building. What's the highest incentive that you give?
There's 20% or
20%.
25%. More or less like
Okay, so at least no, you get 20% discount or 25% discount from your real property tax for how many years?
that. 5 years.
For 5 years.
As long as you are a
Certified.
no attorney, as long as wala kay utang kanang maayo ka nga
Dili ka delinquent.
Yes,
Okay. So as long as you are updated with your tax payments, you will be exempted or you will be discounted with 25%.
First you have to apply.
Okay.
And then second you have to be approved by the Green Building Board.
All right.
And then we have to go to the investment board.
All right.
Sila gid ang last say.
But
You are
isn't
part
that too much? Kanang naka steps.
We are trying to reduce that with the amendment. Natay propose nga amendments.
Oh, we will go to that when
Yes.
it comes to the amendment. Pero as of now, in that ordinance, it's the 3-way step, di ba? Apply, get a certificate, and then you go to the investment board, and the investment board goes to the ripple down to the treasury's office.
Yes.
Okay, so taas biday siya
Actually,
proseso.
duha siya attorney ka incentive, tax and additional floor area. So
What is
papilion
additional
sila.
floor area?
Like for example, FAR, it's floor area ratio. They can go higher if they go green. So more floor area for the developer.
But isn't that already a violation of the building code?
It's not a violation kung muagi siya sa proseso sa atong local zoning board of
Okay,
appeals.
alright.
Naay proseso.
So naatay limit when it comes to floor area in Mandawi City.
Yes, naa.
So if you're a green building, you can go
You
higher.
can be approved higher as long as you also target higher points.
Okay. But can green building like higher buildings are dangerous when it comes
Yes, there are
especially to
limits, of
fire.
course. Yes.
Di ba? Katong nasunog din hina o katong usa ka building sa Grand
Yes,
something.
there is a
In Banilad.
taas kito. Pag ito'y tawad to.
Nag-una sa taas ang kayo. And so it went down. So That's difficult part.
There is a limit, of course, to the height. The request for more floor area.
Kaya itong firemen cannot reach the top, di ba?
Naamay matrix gi-create ang board, ang green building board nga. Dili sa kakaingong sky's the limit. They can go higher but only up to this level.
Okay, that is if you are 5-star.
Yeah, the different stars, the higher the star, basta kung possibility for a higher.
So unsa man na siyang stars na to? How do you rate the stars? How do you get stars?
Stars are by percentage.
Okay.
So kung you get
If lights lang akong usbon, will I get 1 star?
no.
Dili
It
pa di
doesn't
ay?
work that way. It's kanang as I mentioned earlier na to 11 categories.
Okay.
So, kung ako ang owner or developer together with the Verde professional, I want to target this point, this number of stars, 3-star, 5-star. The professional will guide you. Asam ta makakuha ang points. We can maybe tackle on light, electrical consumption,
Okay.
on waste management. Depende sa imong gusto pod nga mabuhat nimo, doable nimo.
But so kanang din, for example, if I say I go for the electrical consumption by changing all my lights, can I get points?
Yes.
Oh, you get points but not really stars.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay, so I must all my appliances should be inverter.
Not necessarily.
Okay na may uban dili
Oo.
inverter.
Dili gid ka pugson gid attorney kanang
If I put
papili-
solar lamp, I have solar power.
you get points,
Points lang, wala star.
wala pa.
Okay. So how do you really get stars?
You go training and you take the exam. Because it's really madugo siya nga
So
kuan.
you mean to say if I put a building, I have to take an exam?
No. I mean, for the people to understand the
The
details,
stars. Okay.
of course, there are kanang online information, so they can always go there, go Verde or PhilGBC. All the information is out there.
So kanang 5-star gyud, that's already
That's
everything.
exemplary. That's what we call world class. Na kanang like Mandani Bay,
Okay.
they have 5 stars.
So that's the only development in Mandaue right now with
So
5
far,
stars.
yes. But naghanatang ni register kanang Gatewalk. I believe they registered
Gatewalk,
already.
okay.
Naghana attorney kanang
Gatewalk is a development of Aboitiz and Ayala. No? So they also applied.
Yes.
Oh wow, huh? So a lot of there are the bigger developments in Mandaue City are applying now to the Verde.
The way I see it, attorney, ano ang mga dagko ni apply man, because I like to share this story sa Mandani. When Mandani was developing pa, planning stage pa sa city, we already told them nga naatay ordinansa nga ipapanday. Negative kay si Mandani adto nga time nga they did not understand at that point yet. But when they said nga kanang sige we'll look into it, it was easier for them to implement because CHT land is international.
Okay.
For international companies or developers,
They understand it na.
Yes, sayon
Alright.
kaayan nila maasabot.
Okay. Now for HT land, like the bigger developments, HT land, Ayala, Aboitiz, they're putting in developments in Mandaue City, and then the thing is because there's too much, or there will be higher costs when it comes to putting in a green building or green development architect. Will it not hurt the lease rates for those who are planning to be renting out spaces in this
Okay.
development?
The lease.
Well, before you answer that, we will answer that when we come back after these few messages from our sponsors. So my last question was that if you have a green building or if you go Verde in your locality, the thing is with developers like Aboitiz, Ayala, mutag-as na ilang renta. Kung tag-as po ng renta, of course, asam nila ipasa sa mo rent, di ba? So, will it not affect, no, hinuon the economic viability of Mandaue City nga, mumahal na hinuon ang Mandaue City rather than go cheaper?
Kung na kay change nga ibutang na ba ginay effect attorney no, either it will go either way. So ang when it comes to lease, of course dili ko developer, dili ko kanang negosyante, so I don't have first hand information. What I do know however is katong mga developers nga exposed na sa international standards, when they are asked to go green and then they lease out, mas daghan sila og kanang less lessee.
Lessee.
Mas daghan
Oh.
sila lessee. Especially those who understand what it means to occupy green buildings.
Why? What
Okay.
are the benefits
Okay.
of
Kung-
staying in a green building? Okay, kung ako na ko'y opisina nga green building, unsay benefits makuha nako?
Okay. Balik na po ko sa categories. There were categories on materials, health and well-being, outdoor views, to name a few. So kung na ako sa green building, I will not be exposed to toxic materials. Example, sa pintal, dili ko makahanggap ang mga pintal nga naay toxic mga components. That will not be allowed. Kung na ako sa green building, I have more natural ventilation opportunities.
Okay.
The more open the building is to natural ventilation and daylight, mas dako na siyang points.
But natural ventilation, architect, init.
Okay. So, if mag-aircon ka, attorney, pero wala ka mo gamit og kanang no using of refrigerants or equipment nga but ang ozone effect gani nga gigitangtang na, you are healthier. Mao na naay dili siya mas mahal, healthier pag yung occupant.
Okay.
Because there's also a health and well-being
So healthier siya nga kay aircon?
no, healthier siya kadili ka exposed.
Okay.
Sa-
But will it not promote noise?
Okay.
If you open the windows and everything.
Kung open ang windows pero naamang points ang dili saba.
How do you minimize the noise when you open the windows?
Technologies gyapon na attorney nga kuan.
Oh, nice
So it's a balance between what we know in the natural world to be healthy for us and also technologies that are safer and more resource efficient. So dili gyud gabi kay I understand when you say solar, I also want to have solar in my house but it's expensive.
Expensive,
So
yeah,
calling
yeah.
out to VECO or partners kung unsay mahimo nga nato nga partnership but layo
You know,
pa tanan
VECO will even give us murag rebates when you do solar. The thing was, when I started computing it, my spending for solar between the rebate that they give us for the X number of years, it becomes nga, wa ko nakasave. Mas dako ina ko
Wala pa.
gasto.
Layo pa ta no?
Oh, so we're really far from there. Like first world countries where nag-solar na gid sila and their power suppliers are very much cooperative, no? Dako og kaltas sa ilang sa ilang rebate when it comes to their electricity because really the Philippines is one of the highest when it comes to electricity rates, no? So it's very hard. Init kay ang ato ang nasod.
Speaking of init, attorney, di ba, ang transportation nato, kung init ka apoy kay biyahe.
I know.
So, especially sa ato, sa public nato, ang transportation. So, ang green building, attorney, na ay points, if you are located in an area nga duol ra ka sa mga landmark or mga establishments nga publicly available po, like schools, pharmacies, city halls, kung naa ka na
So if you make
proximity,
a city development, like a small city,
na you're located in that area, when you locate your establishment in an area nga duol ka, there you have points there.
why? It's not my fault that my location is far.
That's why ang management pa lang, planning pa lang nga aspect, we have to find a lot or a property to get points on transportation. Dapat duol ka sa mga silingan nimo.
Oh, you know, I'd like to share this to you, architect, on a personal note, because I just renovated my house, and one of those that I wanted it to be sustained, because as personal experience, was pag udet, naglisod bitag tubig. And so when I renovated my house, I made a cistern. So it's a huge cistern. It's like 9 feet deep, and dako-dako siya yung area.
Yung volume.
Oh, so
capacity.
I can use the rainwater.
Yes, that's good.
Oh,
That is a green practice.
oh, so because of that, I now use the rainwater for watering my plants
Yes.
and cleaning my floors. No,
Instead of mostly ang gamiton na to potable water.
correct.
That
And
is-
it's very unhealthy also for the water. For the plants nga potable water ang gamiton because of the very high chlorine. So these are things that I also do. Will I get points if I
Yes.
apply?
That's what you call sa category na sa water na ay harvesting mechanism. If you have that in place, you get points for that.
Oh, so for example, also my house is a bit wide, no? Wide siya pagbalay. So the thing is, if it's a wide house, mungit-ngit siya.
Okay.
So if you put glass on it, imungit siya. So what I did is that I skylight
Okay.
to for light to enter.
Yes.
So will that also
Naanay
earn
points.
points?
Because you're receiving daylight.
Okay, that's nice, huh? But I don't like the daylight. It's really making my house a bit hotter
If
instead.
you have that manggod attorney atong balansihon, if it's too dark, there's a possibility to be
using
damp,
the
and then there will be microbes. More
okay.
alam mo na daylight para dili sad kayo manghawa sila attorney ba.
Yeah. But I placed an onyx though to make it more aesthetically beautiful.
Talking of aesthetic attorney, sigwehante ka. There's also points if we promote Filipino art.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow, huh?
If you mangita kag item nga Filipino artist gyud siya, and then you put it in the establishment, in the building, and of course makita nato kinsa siya, there's points for that.
Oh, but Filipino artists are very expensive.
It cannot
Also.
pwede dili ma-expensive. There are creative ways nga ma-promote mo sa Filipino art without buying the expensive ones.
Okay, because China is already offering any art that you want them to produce,
Yes.
and it's even
Also.
cheaper.
You mentioned
diba?
China attorney, napoy points ang employment opportunities. Like for example, if we hire this much percentage of local, di ba naman na sa ordinansa, no? But
Why is it part of the green building?
because we're looking at the community. Ang maka-appreciate mo sa green building attorney are the people.
Oh,
Mugamit niya go in and out.
that's very nice.
So it's really kanang community na gid ang iyang dati inclusive siya sir attorney ba kay ang mga if you have a community facility or an area for community to converge, you get points for that.
Because one aspect that I hired younger architects, no, because I feel that younger architects can more communicate with me, and I can order them around. Unlike the older ones, because the older architects they tend to be stubborn na, and they want their aesthetics to be
Yes.
to be included and not mine, no. So, but the thing with younger architects is that they have not lived in a home. Kanang di kay sila kuan sa home, no, and they don't know sustainability that much.
Yes.
So, wag gid nila na-touch akong garbage,
Okay.
solid waste management. How can you ripple this down to the younger generation? How important solid waste management is? How important sustainability when it comes to green building and environmental building is
Nindot kayo mong question attorney, ganahan ko sa mutubag ana. Because solid waste management is a problem that we all have, but we would like to not think about.
Exactly.
Parang if it's not there, it's not a problem. If we don't
Yes.
see it, it doesn't matter to us.
Most of us will not see our solid waste, because most of it we hide,
Yes.
diba?
Ang sa architect, ako example lang akong history sa architecture, sa among curriculum, sa history sa gi-impart sa architecture is wala gyud naay utilities nga area, pero never gyud na gi-specify nga this is for waste management.
Okay.
For decades wala na gitudlo sa ato, but it is a problem, everyday problem.
There you go.
Sa gibuhat nato ron attorney sa I am a member of the PhilGBC Board of Trustees.
Okay.
So one of our committees is for the youth. So atong gibuhat, this is a program that we call Verde Youth Orientation Program. Now what do? We try to bridge the gap between the architects of before and the architects of now.
Okay, very
Nga
nice.
sa una, wala taan na nga information, wala taan na nga awareness. It was taught to us, but it was not labeled as green building. For solid waste management, it was not specific.
Okay.
So karon everything that is green, it will be taught to the college students who will then teach the high school students to pay it forward.
How nice.
So we're beginning that program together with PhilGBC Board of Trustees and with OBO and Planning Office of Mandawi.
Are you doing this now in the DepEd in Mandawi City?
Not yet.
Oh.
This is a pilot program that
I
because
hope you can do it immediately, no, architect? Because
Nakita na to
really, it's a difficult. Like for example, if I tell my architect, I want a huge garbage area. Huge when it becomes huge kan to look about garbage can masud in one, like for example sa malata og sa recyclables, and ako na siya and they Mura naman nagbalay.
First of all,
Oh.
attorney, akong suggestion sa imo is you get an architect who will really listen to what you want.
Yes.
Kaya ang architect mo will put on paper, this is what I believe, will put on paper your vision, not my
Correct.
vision.
Correct.
Pero mag-collaborate mo. Kung mahadlok sila, ma'am, kay matudlo lang ka what they want, usa may ilang
Precisely.
input.
Yeah. And I hope some architects are listening now because mo gyud nay problema because they tend to forget the more essential part. And for me, solid waste management, drainage problems, these are the most essential
True.
and the invisible ones when it comes to constructions.
And those come up when the occupant is living already in the
Yes.
building that you designed.
Correct.
So human na ba, you're out of the picture and the problem arise because wala mas study.
Exactly. Now you really understand where I'm coming from because especially garbage cans, gagmay kay lang ibutang architect. And you know the garbage that we use that we throw every day
Yes.
are just like for example a packaging of our groceries. Pila na naka-boxes and plastic and everything that we throw immediately. The thing is the thing is because we want to get rid of the site, we throw them in the trash can and we forget to recycle. So part of the green building is recycling.
Yes.
So green building is not just a building itself.
No. Everything that is part of it.
So it's a
including-
lifestyle.
Yes, that's true.
Oh.
Recycled materials get points.
Wow.
When you implement or use or install recycled materials, you get points.
So for example, what I eat, do you give points? Like for example, I only eat organic. What
For
siya
the
labot?
verde, wala.
Like what for example, what I use soap, organic soaps.
Wala, that's not part anymore.
That's the part. So it's
Katulad
really on
ibutang nimo sa building, attorney.
what I put in the building and how I dispose of my waste.
Yes.
So mo lang na siya ang kwan. So it's not walay labot sa how I live my life.
Yes.
Ah.
However, if you live in a green building, mas ma-enhance ang imong love for the environment because you're actually living in
You
a
know,
space.
which is very true because I was able to stay in a building in Singapore wherein grabe ilang vines coming out. No, it's like you're staying in the seven
Garden.
halls or seven gardens of Babylon. Na grabe kay ilahang garden and I was like, how do they even water the plants? No, so that is the mechanism.
Yes.
No, so are those things that require for green building nga mabutang jud kag plants all over your building?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay.
But how you use, how you water, get points.
Ah.
Because that's where efficiency of the resource come in.
That's very nice because especially now that there's global warming, what I understand is that we have heavier rains.
I have to correct myself. Vegetation, if there are points, if there's an open space and the open space gets vegetated, you get points katong horizontal.
Okay. So
But
kung nakay
vertical,
lawn and then you like for example
Vegetated.
sa kanang rooftop,
Yes.
you
Any horizontal areas, especially kung open space siya, i-vegetate nimo niya kanang agriculture products pag yun. Kanang
kanang agriculture products like
Yes.
vegetables like
Yes.
a green mura ka naghimo greenhouse.
yes, those get points.
For ornamental plants nagapon siya points but not aside.
not lahi pod siya nga aspect.
But one thing that is so uso karon good architect kanang yung mabutang tag nga grass like for example fake grass.
We call it turf.
Turf, okay. So kanang
No points.
no points na siya. Okay. You know, it actually is green. and it's nice to look at. Which I have to say, I was putting it because di man gid mabuhi ang grass in the area.
It's difficult to maintain.
So I've been putting in grass. Di man gid siya mabuhi because of the shade of the tree. So I need to choose between
They
the
love the
grass or the shade of the trees. I'd rather choose the shade because it's really really cool.
Yes.
So no points for these kind of things.
Because di man siya natural pod.
Yeah, especially in you know very very common in the capital in Manila. Kumukuan kitag mga buildings ngadto mga areas na sila yung mga wall of plants.
The wall of plants don't get points because ang I believe ang wisdom anang creating vertical gardens is to hang up the carbon emission
Yes.
from the motorists
Correct.
from the outside. Pero wala na siya, technically wa siya points.
Why?
Ang atong gi-focus is katong horizontal
Oh,
areas.
so ang kanang vertical na to nga mga plants wala siya.
Wala siya.
Okay, because it's nice to look at, ha? Nice to look at, and also yes, muhanggap siya o especially the dust and everything. But there are also in Cebu, I'm so sad and very unfortunate to look at nga in Cebu, most of our vertical gardens are plastic. Di ba?
Sa no yun. What for?
Correct. Okay, kay murag mao gid siya kuan niya, but maybe just to make our eyes more relaxed.
Yeah, maybe.
Architect, we've been talking about the green building and things. What are the future amendments for this? Because I know that you are proposing some amendments for our ordinance. After 8 years, you're proposing an amendment. What are those?
Yes, after 8 long years, finally, kanang nakauna-una na gyud ang syudad nga there are points to be improved or changed. It was done last March. I believe si attorney, you were part of
Yes,
it,
yes,
part
yes.
of the workshop nga atog yung ipalambo ang ordinansa. It was led by the Mandaue, the Green Building Board. So naagitay board ana. Ang one of the highlights lang ako nakita na hinuduman adto attorney is that before manggod kung naatay policies nga gusto ma-improve or ma-mention or ma-recommend kanang we don't have the data, we don't have the numbers from PhilGBC. Marag example na ay aplikante,
Okay.
a developer, and then we want to understand their proposal, but we don't have the numbers, we don't have the copy of the plans.
Correct.
So how could we be better in our work as board members? So that's one of the highlights nga in the ordinance giato na gimandatuhan si PhilGBC to give us the data.
Oh, now we're giving mandate to PhilGBC.
No, they're part of the. It's part of the ordinance nga.
Where's
They
the office of PhilGBC in Mandaue?
in Manila
In Manila, wala sila sa Cebu.
wala pa.
Okay, wala pa. But we are welcoming them.
Yes, of course. We've been welcoming
nice.
them from
Okay.
day one.
Wow. In Manila, asa ilang office?
It's in BGC.
Oh, okay. So you can just Google them.
Yes, of course.
So what's the name of the full office? Philippine Green Building
Council.
So Philippine Green Building Council. If you want more information about this one, you can just Google them and then get information from them.
Yes, everything
Right?
is downloadable also.
Perfect. So as City Enro Officer of Mandaue City, do you have final messages to our televiewers right there, right here in Partners in Law, especially when it comes to the implementation of the Green Building Law?
As I mentioned earlier, ang green building nato karon nga implementation part na it's become a migraine. However, ang atong yung direction attorney is we really have to keep moving. Because kung ato i-mention ang COP or COP27, it's been said nga we're still off track. Layo pa jud kay ta. For Mandaue, layo pa sad ta. There's so much, there's a long way to go. But as to every one of us, there are days nga environmental issues overwhelm me as part of the Kuansa office. So what do I do? What do I tell myself? Nga as long as I see people, I meet people who are seeds of hope, like Attorney Regal here. And of course, I tell myself that I should become a seed of hope myself. The next day is brighter.
Wow. Those are words of wisdom from our City Enro Officer of Mandaue City. Thank you very much, Architect Arceli Barlam, for this opportunity.
Thank you,
I hope
Sir.
this will not be the last time that we will make you as guests in Partners in Law. And we learned so much from you today. So this has been your host, Attorney Regal Oliva. I'll see you in the next shows of Partners in Law.